Beserk, one of the most darkest manga I have ever read. Now, why did I choose Beserk? First of all, there was a giant sword. Cue the giant. But other than that, there's lots of talk about this book, a lot of reviews, and a lot of people telling me, read the book, go read it, go read the series. I'm like, fine, I'll read the manga. So I did. And the deep messages behind the book and its stories is amazing. I love it. But before we get into it, a quick trigger warning. This trigger warning is literally everything. Trigger warning. That's it. It goes through some horrific scenes of gore and a lot of sexualization of many characters we learned to love. Now, these scenes are in there for a good reason that I'll go over later, but for now, we'll go over our summary. Beserk takes place in a dark fantasy medieval world where it can get as real as it can get while still having weird old men and little elves. But in all of these kingdoms that you find throughout this dark, grim medieval world setting is a monarchy with one tyrant at the top for each of these kingdoms, and all below are the lowly slaves. We follow our main character, and I still question if he's a good guy, because he doesn't seem like a good guy. His name, Guts. And at first we see that this character, this hulking huge man with a giant sword and an arsenal of weapons strapped to his chest, is just some cold, unfeeling brute who can just kill anything and is super strong and he's super cool and he's a badass. And that's how we see him through most of the first chapter. But even though he seems so unfeeling and strong and I don't know, like a literal badass, you start to see glimpses of who he really is, with one specific scene where he is swinging through entire crowds of skeletons and demons, but for some reason he stops. He hesitates to swing his sword when he finds that there's a little girl right in front of his blade. He lets his guard down, and then he gets stabbed by the little girl. But what can we see from this? I can see that this guy still has some morality in him, something good behind him, while he always says through his words saying like, people are weak and you are weak and your life doesn't matter, and he still goes out of his way to save these lives, and that doesn't sit right. And we start peeling back as we go through this novel, peeling back through his cold, tough guy demeanor and realizing who he really is on the inside. He's not some kind of unfeeling meathead who wields a literal fridge of a sword, but a more tender type of guy who has a heart. But why is he like that? And then this is where we get into the deep stuff. Throughout the story, we see a lot of his darkest moments, and yet he still rises up from them. But one instance that most manga readers call the eclipse is his worst moment yet, where when he finally learns to open up and befriend the people around him and learn to trust and love these people around him, one man takes it all away from him, rips it out of his hands, and sacrifices them for his own personal gain. And now we understand why he doesn't let anyone close to him. He tends to shy away from physical contact or just anything in general that would serve as some type of friendship, because he does not want to feel weak or feel vulnerable with these people, because he doesn't trust them anymore or something. And you can see how messed up he is from all of this, because 90% of the story is him having a rage. He has suffered such a loss to a point where it seems like he'll never be the same. His entire story and his entire goal in life was just changed by this one single event. One event changes his entire goal and story. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up now. So, what's the deeper meaning behind all of Beserk? Well, to me, and to many others, this story is a symbol of strength, of human spirit, of determination. And I don't mean strength as in, oh yeah, strong muscles, lift heavy things, be ripped, and swing giant sword. But it's more the ability to take such big losses and experience such hardships and still manage to stay true to yourself and love those around you. The endless struggle against nearly impossible odds is just what Beserk shows off in general. And him just constantly fighting these nearly godlike demons, where we see him barely make it out alive, or even stand after the battle. But Beserk gives one key message to me, and it's to never give up.